All right, now that we have the bowl and knot, the next one that we want to incorporate into our tarp system is the trucker's hitch. So on this end, this far end, I've got my tarp. And my tarp is set up in the distance there, just off screen. And what I'm doing now with the standing end of, say, that bowline knot, is I've got all this loose rope, and I want to take the rope and I want to tie it off to a tree. So I want to tie my tarp off to a tree somewhere, right? So what I'm going to do is I can pull on the tarp, and that's going to create a certain amount of tension. But the trucker's hitch, what's great about it is that it'll really tighten up and create a pulley system so that you can maximize the tension of that tarp and making it nice and taut. So my tarp is on the far end here. I'm going to take my new working end. This is my new working end now. And I'm going to take it, and I can do, say I can go around a tree, right? So I can go around a tree and pull it, or for this sake here, I'm just going to use this little eyelet. You can actually buy eyelets and have them in your kit, and sometimes they help because they let you just screw in the eyelet into a tree, and that way you don't have to use as much rope if it's a really big tree, or you can actually specialize where you want to put your rope. So here we can see I can pull and pull and pull, and that's going to create a certain amount of tension, but it's not going to necessarily create enough, especially if the rope is really long. So what I like to do is have the rope fairly tight, right? Just give it like a little hand tightness here, and then I can see how much rope I have to work with, how much potential slack there's going to be, depending on how loose the rope might be. You might want to have this little loop that we're going to create at varying distances, and you can test that out. So what I'm doing here is the first step of the trucker's hitch is I'm going to make a bit of a bite, and then I'm going to make a loop with it. So this is called a bite when it's round here, and I'm going to take this bite and I'm going to go in the opposite direction of my work end. So I'm going to go towards my standing end, towards the tarp, and I'm just going to wrap it around that rope and pull it through. And what this is going to do is create a loop for me here, okay? So I've got this loop now that I've made, right? And if I were to pull it, it'll undo. So that's kind of the beauty of it as well, is that it undoes quickly. So I've got that bite, and I've gone towards the standing end, and I've circled it underneath that part of the rope. And now I've got this loop, and again, if I pull this, it'll loosen it. So I've got a nice little working end. I'm going to go back to this rope, the working end here, that I've secured around a tree or through an eyelet. And now I can take that working end and put it through that loop. And I'm going to pull. Now what I've got is this pulley system. Anytime we've got a pulley system, we're really increasing our ability to create tension. And now you can just pull back and pull back and pull back as much as you like until your tarp is nice and taut. And this is called the trucker's hitch. Now, of course, we've got to tie it off. So the way that we're going to tie it off is just by a simple knot here to create a quick release. And so what we're going to do is just pinch the working end, the working rope, and circle through underneath the rope, the standing end. And you can either keep it as a loop or you can pull it all the way through. I like to keep it as a loop. I find that easier, and in the end it's just a simple pull through here, where if I pull this all the way through, now I have to kind of undo the whole thing, which creates a little bit more work. So I've pulled tension, and then on that working end, I have tied it off. I've got my loop, and so this kind of secures it. However, It's not a full lock system, so I actually prefer to take this loop and just go once more through. And now with that double bite there, it's really secure, okay? And it won't undo. To undo it later on, well, it's simply pushing through the one end, one loop through once, and then pulling on this end. Should undo very easily. Let it unwrap from the tree, right? And then this, even though there's been all that tension on it, rather than trying to loosen that knot, what you can simply do is pull it. And that undoes the trucker's hitch. Give it a try now.